So, a few months ago, I was in a relationship, but we broke up, and honestly, there's a really good reason for that. I wanted to share my story because I think a lot of people, especially young people like me, put too much pressure on themselves when it comes to relationships. And maybe you've been there too. So, what happened is, we were both minors at the time, and we had been dating for about a year. At first, everything felt exciting, the thrill of having someone care about you, but slowly, I started noticing that something wasn't quite right. I was too hyper fixated on how a relationship should be like, and it's not a bad thing to have an expectation from your partner, but sometimes the ideal shoujo manga stuff just doesn't happen in real life, and I was completely missing the point of being in a relationship. You don't really want to date someone that you wouldn't even get along as friends, and I think that's something a lot of people don't talk about, not realizing what it means to be in a relationship and why sometimes the idea of one is very far from reality, especially as a naive little teenager, and why it didn't work out. Teenage relationships rarely last. I think deep down, both of us probably knew that, but I ignored it because I wanted to hold on to the idea of being in love. And then after a year, I finally felt like something had to change. I had to change and grow as a person. Being single now feels like a relief. It feels like I was released from the pressure of having to be in a relationship so early or thinking I had to get married in the future. I wasn't forced into it, but for some reason I always felt like I should be in a relationship. And honestly, I kept beating myself up for not understanding why I had that urge in the first place. Now that I'm single, I've started reflecting on my priorities. Being in a relationship isn't something I most needed at the time. There were other things I could have focused on, such as learning a new skill, studying, spending time with my friends, or even just exploring something about myself. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that it's okay to be single. You can still be happy, fulfilled, and growing without a romantic partner. There were moments in the relationship where I realized it wasn't helping me grow. For example, I was way too attached on my partner because every little thing fluctuated my mental health, and it gives me an anxiety attack every time my partner would be upset at me. But I also learned a lot about myself. I noticed patterns like how I sometimes rely on others for validation, and I didn't really like the fact that I tied my own self-worth to me having a relationship or not. It's kind of funny because a relationship can teach you about other people, but more importantly, it can teach you about yourself, and it's great. So here's what I've learned so far about relationships. Self-worth isn't tied to a relationship. Just because you're single doesn't mean you're failing or incomplete. Focusing on growth. Being single gave me the time to think about who I am, what I enjoy, and what I want to do in the future. Understanding yourself matters. If you don't know who you are, it's easy to get lost in someone else's expectations or idea of what a relationship should be. And definitely don't rush, because it is not worth rushing into. Give yourself some time to grow. I genuinely enjoy being single. I don't feel pressured anymore. I can focus on myself, my hobbies, and my ambitions. If I meet someone that is genuinely cool in the future, it's great. But for now, I hope to save that for the future me. Being single has saved me in many ways. Saved me from unnecessary stress, from comparing myself to others, and from forgetting who I am. And not gonna lie, that kind of is a cool feeling. Let me know if you've experienced something similar. What did you learn about yourself? Did being single at the time help you grow? Feel free to drop them in the comments.